Coffee cup. About 2 years ago, one of my roommate's friends, Nia, came to visit him from New Orleans. She was only going to be around for a few days, so we offered to let her stay at our apartment. I guess she didn't mind living with three guys, but she kind of already knew me anyway. The third roommate, my cousin Stacy, wasn't actually supposed to be living with us. He had just gotten out of prison for aggravated assault and needed a place to stay until he got on his feet. Of course, it never occurred to anyone to tell Nia this. The night before she arrived, my roommate Keith was really excited. I had never seen him like that before, so I assumed they were going to be fucking. When she arrived the next morning, I wasn't sure what was going on. The Nia I knew was a thin girl with long hair, nice skin, and a pretty smile. This was a cage fighter walking through the door, and she had the audacity to wear purple. The bitch looked like Grimace. Keith took the big fit into his bedroom and shut the door, leaving me and Stacy in the living room. After making mean-spirited jokes about Nia for a few minutes, Stacy and I left to get food. We returned later that night to find her sitting at the table drinking coffee from an odd-looking cup. She didn't even acknowledge us. I was getting a dark vibe, but it wasn't coming from Nia. Not thinking much of it, I shook it off and went to bed. After several days, it was time for her to leave. She packed her things to get her Randy Savage ass out of there. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't relieved. I watched as my gross roommate walked her to the car and kissed her one last time before she took off. He walked back into the apartment and smiled at me and Stacy like we were supposed to be proud of him. We both broke down laughing. "What the hell is so funny?" he asked in an angry tone. "I've seen prettier women in jail," Stacy answered. Honestly, I wasn't sure if that was a joke or if he was being serious, so I just kind of disregarded it. Keith stormed past us into his room, slamming the door behind him. That night at around 3 a.m., there was a loud thud in the living room and it jolted Stacy out of his sleep. He sat up and called my name. I was still in bed, but someone must have answered him because he gasped and started breathing heavily. Now, Stacy was 6'5", about 230 pounds, and had spent years in jail, was gang-affiliated, and kept a gun under the couch, but he was scared of ghosts. By the time I left his room to investigate the thud, Stacy had the covers pulled up over his head. "Stacy, what the hell are you doing? What was that noise?" He peeked his head out and looked at me. "There's somebody in there." I looked around, but I didn't see anything. "There's somebody in there." Stacy sat up and took another look around. "I swear to God, I heard somebody call my name." At that point, I knew he was just being an ass, but then I noticed a silhouette of a person outside the window. I was confused for a second before it hit me. We live on the second floor, and there's no balcony. There's no way in hell anyone should be even able to even reach out that window. I yelled at the top of my lungs. Stacy grabbed his gun and let a shot off, shooting right through the window. Keith jumped out of bed and ran into the living room, asking, "What happened?" I pointed to the window, but there was now nothing there but a bullet hole. Keith went over and looked, but didn't see anything. "There's no one out there." "I can't believe this. There's glass and shit all over the ground. The police are probably going to get called." Suddenly, laughter is heard coming from my room. We all froze. "Please tell me you have a girl in there," Stacy said, voice trembling. I backed up and swallowed. I was the only one there. Stacy threw the covers from off him and bolted towards the front door in panic. All I saw was a bare black ass. I had no idea he had been sleeping naked ass on the couch, where I would often rest my head while watching TV. Me and Keith covered our eyes as Stacy struggled to open a door, only to see that it was locked from the outside. Stacy turned around and sprinted past us into Keith's room and slammed the door behind him. He let out a blood-curdling scream, followed by silence. I turned to Keith. "What the hell did you let in our apartment?" Keith's eyes grew wide as if he had just realized something. He was staring at the coffee cup on the kitchen table. "Quincy, it's a goddamn coffee cup. It has evil spirits trapped inside." I had finally realized why I had gotten such a dark vibe when I saw Nia drinking out of that cup. Keith started to make his way to the cup when his door opened, and Stacy was standing there screaming and smiling at the same time. Still naked as far as we could tell, possessed. He let out a battle cry and charged at us, his meat slab swinging. I picked up his gun and shot him in the leg. "Holy shit, you shot Stacy," Keith yelled. I didn't even think twice about it. I was scared and pissed off. I aimed at the coffee cup to see that it was gone. The goddamn coffee cup was gone.